Hi, Dot.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so this was the original, and this was your attempt. Okay.
Yes.
So tell us a bit what you did here.
When I saw this image, it looked quite ethereal to me, very misty, like the structure was coming out of the sea, and I wanted just the structure. I didn't want the jetty on the side, so I decided, and that's when I ran into problems with trying to match what I'd removed with the rest of the image. I've thought of trying to use the pen tool to select everything, take it off, redo the sea and the sky, and then create reflections when I put it all back in again. I'm just wondering if there's an easier method.
So what about the boats? Do you like the boats in here too?
No, I wanted to take everything out so it could be a timeless image. So you know at what stage it was taken.
So the first question I would ask you is how far is this location from you if you did have to go back and reshoot it?
It's about 150 miles.
Okay.
Good excuse for another holiday.
Yeah. Because it's a lot of work. But first and foremost, what I'm going to show you is, let me duplicate this layer. And I show this in my classes. You have to check your horizon. Okay, the horizon isn't straight. So that's the first thing I would check when I would look at this image. Because if you don't straighten your horizon right off the bat, it's just going to cause issues later. So I'm going to go to my crop tool. I'm going to clear this. And I'm going to click on the straighten tool right here. And then I'm going to draw a line along the existing horizon. And it might even tell you, see, 1 degree you're off. And then that straightened it. And we could always check if we did a good job or not with a guide. Not too great. Let's give it another go. But you do have to straighten your horizon first. I want a bit too much there. Okay. So cleaning up. Cleaning up is tricky. I'm going to talk when you'd want to use the pen tool and when not. Because when we think about it, we have to think about what we want to do here is make a selection. And what is the best tool at our disposal to make a selection? So I know that the quick selection selects according to contrast. Now, do I have a strong contrast between what I want to select and the background? If you do, then I would say use the quick selection. It's quick and easy. We can also select by color. The magic wand selects by color. I don't know, this is pretty much a similar color, but it could be tricky. I would say because you have very exact lines here and here, maybe for some areas the pen tool might come in handy. But what I would do is I would start out, let me duplicate this again, and it's something instead of cloning, because I saw here in your image, I could see cloning or I could see something's not looking good here. Okay, you can see the horizon isn't straight. It looks very blotchy, like something not too great. Okay, here I can see that there was a pen tool here. There's a very exact edge. But what I would do is I'm going to flip this image around and I'm going to take the water from here and try to put it here. So I'm going to edit, transform, and flip horizontal. Okay, I'm going to turn this off for a second. And now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, I want to protect this pier. And because this is very, let me try the quick selection. See how this works. Not bad. Because when I'm going to be brushing in the water, I see here it's having a hard time. So maybe the pen tool is the way to go. And you might have to come in here quite a bit, but let's just say maybe correcting it won't take as long as driving the 150 miles to the location. I think quite a few of you that submitted had some cleaning up to do. Like that was your main comment, the cleanups. And I can tell you that the cleanups are annoying. And they're not necessarily any different from any other cleanup that you'll have in an image. I'm going to just go straight to here because I'm going to choose the areas that I have a close boundary with the piling or with the pier that I don't want to bleed into when I paint in the water. And this is where things are going to get fuzzy, and I'll have to come back here and clean it later. Okay, and I'm just going to select this and close my path. And this is a path, so I have to save it. And I saved it. This is the image. Wait, let me unselect this. This is the image that I flipped and had here, the sky. And what I want to do is I want to turn it on. I want to create a mask, and I want to make the mask black. And now I want to start revealing back the parts of the water that I brought from here to here, because I can see it. I can see it on my mask because I flipped it the other way around. But when I do that, I want to protect to not brush over the pier. So I'm going to go to my paths. I'm going to make this selection, and I'm going to make it with a selection of maybe 1 pixel, just to give it a slight feathering. And I'm going to select everything besides that pier. So I'm going to go to select, because if I was to now start brushing, I could only brush within the area of the marching ants. So I need to inverse my selection. Select inverse. And now I'm going to come back to my mask, and with a white brush, because my mask is black, and I'm at 42% opacity. I could go to 100 and start brushing in the water. And because I protected the pier, you can see here, this is already coming in. So you have to be careful. Make the brush smaller. Go back to a white brush and paint in. And because I protected the pier with my marching ants, I won't be bleeding into the pier. Now, I could also go undo. If I don't want to fidget too much with here, I can unlock the mask and the pixel layer and move my pixels to create a cleaner area. If the water here has a better tone or something, I could now move the mask and the pixel independently. Okay, but that's what it comes down to. It comes down to protecting what you need. Now here you can see that I should have feathered probably more than 1 pixel because it's very exact. So I might feather it with 2 or 3 pixels, because you can see the edge of the piers has a little softness to it and not so hard. I like using hard edges with architectural photography images. And that is something I would do to all the locations. I would kind of do the same concept. I would do this, what I call this kind of skin grafting. I would protect the areas that I don't want to bleed into, and you could keep repeating this as much as you want. Now here we have some kind of artifact. So let's see what it looks like before we fixed what we did. I can disable the mask. Turn this off. Okay, so I overpainted areas I don't want to paint. So I'm just going to go back with a black brush. And I don't need to protect it now. I'm just painting over here because my path left some artifacts that I don't want. So I'm going to erase what I did there and bring back in the original pier. Okay? Dot, how's that looking?
That's brilliant. That's
little
really
by
good.
little by little. And this you'd have to clean again. So what's happening here is that every time you're duplicating a layer, you're increasing your pixel size of your image. So what you can do is right click on the mask and say apply layer mask. And now the only thing visible from this layer are these pixels. Okay?
Save a lot of space, yeah.
Yeah, it saves you a lot of hard drive space. And you could keep doing this again and again. I could duplicate this layer. I could flip it the other way around, edit, transform. And I'm flipping it because this side is all clean for me. And I could move it now up because I need the clean upper spots. And if I can't see where I'm going with it, I'll reduce the opacity. And I know that I need to clean this spot. So I'm just going to keep moving it up a bit. And I'm going to return the opacity back to 100%. I'm going to add a mask, make it black. And let's move this to the top layer so I always know what I'm doing. I got to restore my colors. Something happened with my colors. I'm not on black and white anymore. So I'm going to restore it back to the default colors. You know what, you guys? I forgot to turn on this little program. Okay, so I'm going to click on that back. On this top, on the top left, there's the black and white tiny squares. That restores to the defaults. And I want to, let's go down a bit, the opacity. Whoops. What did I do wrong now? Anybody see what I did wrong? Who's the first person that could tell me what I did wrong right now? Where's the chat box? If you look at my image, what did I do wrong? That's very destructive to my image. I was painting on my pixel layer, not on my mask. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my history. I'm going to go back to layer order, and I'm going to make sure that my mask is highlighted as I'm brushing. Whoops, and now I'm black on black, so I have to change my mask, my brush to white, and now I can start painting. And if I want to protect the pier again, now you can see I have a different tone here. Okay, I'm starting to see the different tone because it's darker here as opposed to here. So this is where sometimes what I might do is actually delete this, and I'm going to merge these two together. And I'm going to duplicate this one. And I'm not going to flip it. I'm just going to clone from here down to here. So now I'm going to move it down so I can take the tone from on top of it and add a mask, make it black, and brush and hide it. And I might need to revive that path that I did to protect the pier so I don't paint over the pier. But these kind of things you have to do in step, gradual, and you graft from one area, you merge it together. You graft from another area, you merge it together. And then you have a very clean area here. I'd get rid of the buoy here. You can do this with a very simple clone. But you'd have to protect the pilings from the boats when you're cloning or when you're grafting, just like I did here on the pier. Okay?
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay.